Bonjour, everybody. Hi, this is Neshi Lokat. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page and to the card draw live stream that we do almost every morning. Today is Friday, July 27th, and it is gorgeous here in Tomah, Wisconsin. Really, right now it's like 69 degrees. Who knew? July. And it's almost over with July, huh? We just got a few more days left of this month, and we head into August. Hey, Mary, good morning to you. What did we used to call August? When I was a kid, it seemed like, August was the warmest month, hot, and humid. At that time, I don't know if anybody still calls it the dog days of summer. I never knew what that really meant because those poor dogs, most of them were outdoor dogs during that time frame, like in the 60s, Yeah, playing outside when it was really, really hot. Yeah. Say, who's got coffee this morning? Because I do. I actually went to bed at a decent hour last night, and so I'm feeling pretty good today. It takes, we're starting the August issue of the magazine. Actually, we're probably in the first, I don't know, probably 10 steps into the new issue. Contributing writers have sent me their completed and edited articles. Some of them turned them in early, and I'm on the search for a cover image, and so we're really rolling along, starting with the August issue. I think you guys are going to like it. Mary says, I do. Coffee. Elise, good morning, Elise. The audio is really low. All right. I'll turn up my audio. And I'll speak up. Oops. I touched a button I shouldn't have touched. All right. I turned up my audio and I'll speak up a little bit. So anyway, I was saying that we're working on the August issue, just the very early stages, and I'll be taking those articles and doing the very first pieces to get them prepped for layout. Yeah. This part of it is that I get to read the articles for the first time, and that's always an exciting time for me. I like doing that. I like that part of the process. By the time we get to almost publishing, like around the 9th of the month, I've seen those articles so many times. That's why we have other editors come in and with fresh eyes to be able to see if there's any misspelled words left, or formatting kind of situations, because I've gotten to the point where I can't see the forest for the trees. So we always have somebody come in to give us a hand with that. How many people are thankful it's Friday? I used to when I used to do that commute into work. Fridays were really special days. That usually meant that the supervisory staff was usually gone by about 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which left us usual workers, or, those without any supervisory kind of responsibility, a little bit more relaxed in the afternoon, and heading out. Yeah, Paul and I used to always go to Friday fish fry in the evening, so to start the weekend. Yeah. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning. I was just telling everybody that it's kind of cool here this morning, 69 degrees as I was driving up to the academy. Yeah, 69. And I know I should probably be walking it, there's no excuse for it other than I wait until the very last minute to get things done down at the house, and I look at the time and think, oh my gosh, I got to go. It would have been a beautiful morning to walk is what I'm saying. Had I done it. All right, so this morning's card draw. I had to smile at this one because, I don't know, I like this guy. I do. Kokopelli. It's about fertility. and that creative process. Yeah, he's actually visited a few times since we started doing these morning card draw stuff for the live streams. He's shown up quite often, actually. Kokopelli is probably a pretty well-known Native American figure. He is seen so many places. I've seen him, his image as coasters and light switch decorations. He's everywhere. Soap. He's on certain, I can't remember which brand of tea it is from the Southwest. They have him on their box, and so when I sent out the notification this morning to remind people about the live stream, I used a Kokopelli image. Kind of liked it. It had the energy swirl on it, and it had the different seasons in symbolism. Like it had sunshine, and it had snowflakes and raindrops and that sort of thing. I kind of liked it. But Kokopelli is a really strong medicine. Let's put it that way, because he's all about creation. He's all about fertility. And they say that he was half man, half God. So what does that mean? When we think about gods, when they write it in that way, I think of Greek gods and the Roman gods and that sort of thing. I don't necessarily, my mind does not necessarily go to the creator. I don't know. What about you guys? My mind doesn't go to the creator, what we call Kechibanado or Mauna. Yeah, the Kechimanadu is Great Spirit, and Mauna is Ho-Chunk for Earth Maker, creator of all things. My mind doesn't go in that direction with Kokopelli. When they say that he's half man and half God, I think about, like the children of the Greek gods or the Roman gods. Yeah. Hey, Mary Sakowitz. So good you're here. Stephanie goes, I miss fish fries. Now, do you miss fish fries because they don't really have it where you live? Also known as fish and chips in some places, or is it because of your specific diet that you're on? Or should I say lifestyle, like no fried foods kind of lifestyle? Elise says, how's mom? She's doing pretty good. This weather has been really good to her. The couple of nights when it rained, the next morning was kind of rough, but overall she's doing really well. Really well. She she has this thing about politics. You want to talk about politics? Oh my gosh, that's the woman for you, because she knows all the ins and outs. And so she keeps track of what's going on with that. So thank goodness she doesn't listen to Fox News. She does MSNBC and CNN, BBC. There's another one she does too. I can't remember that one. But anyway, so she keeps tabs on everything. So she's actually doing really well. Really well. This morning I noticed when I took in her mid-morning snack to her, I noticed that she had some beads out, and she had some deerskin hide out. I don't know what she's going to make. I think she was trying to decide what she's going to make. So she's doing pretty good, actually. Yeah. Yesterday she was pretty tired. Thursday, bath day. And she says, I feel like I was put in an 8-hour day after I get done with my bath. Well, it's hard on the body. But she's doing good. Thanks for asking, Elise. I appreciate that. And, you get to meet her in September. So, yay. All right. So go back to Kokopelli. Kokopelli, he is a very I was going to use the word influential, because he is the energy, the spirit that reminds us about creation, the creative process. Yeah. Stephanie says, my mind goes to elementals that wanted to experience being human. Oh, that's a good perspective. Yeah, both. Yeah. Okay, both her no place to really have a fish fry where she's living, and also it's a part of her lifestyle. Yeah, when we first moved up here 12 years ago, I was a vegan, and it was so much easier to be a vegan down in Madison area. Almost every restaurant had at least one or two dishes for vegans or vegetarians, and actually probably more than just one or two for vegetarians. Up here, not so much. If you like fried foods, this is the place to live. And so it was really difficult at first when we first moved up here. And slowly I've had to test the edges of my food. Yeah. So I do eat meat. Not much, really. A little bit. And we still do a lot of venison and elk. And so I do a lot more fish than anything else. Occasional chicken, easier to digest for me. The red meat, like the beef and that vein, is not. I find it harder for me to digest, and yeah, and so on occasion, and I live in Wisconsin, and so of course we have to have brats every once in a while. Every once in a while. So here is the card that came this morning for those who are just joining us. It's Kokopelli, and it's about fertility. And he has come to visit on several occasions in the card draws. And we were just talking about how he is known as about fertility, and it's about creativity, the creation process. And Jamie Sams, and this is the cards that we've been using since May. So Sacred Path cards by Jamie Sams, and Jamie, this particular deck and the book came out in 1990, and so some of the information, the way it's written, you can tell that it's in a different decade by the words that she uses. But the cards, the essence of the cards, are still relevant. At least that's what I'm finding. And for those people who are in the live chat who've been with me since we started this journey, what would you say about that? The relevancy of the essence of the cards. And basically, we're looking, the question that I ask my spiritual team to do the card draw is that what is the energy that's most important for us to know about today, for our highest good? And so, and so the energy that information that's provided through the cards, I tell you what, many times has been spot on for me as my day unfolds. Yeah, especially the rainbow, was it Whirling Rainbow card? That one was like, oh, okay. They're showing me that these cards are definitely still relevant. Yeah. Stephanie is saying, Cyrano says, Kokopelli sounds like one horny dude, and anything is fertile, he is interested. Yes. In fact, there are kachinas, and kachina dolls are carved replications, symbolism of the different, you called them elementals, Stephanie. There's birds, there's dancers. They actually, and they always have things coming from their head, whether it's a headdress, but really, there's it has more to do with um, star beings coming to this planet and interacting with the indigenous people here for centuries, thousands and thousands of years. And yes, Sarah knows he is about the creation process. And there are um, Kachina dolls that show him with an erection, and because it is about the creation process, and there's lots and lots of stories about him too, and many of the stories has him selecting um, a young woman to have a child with him, and that is about they call it the divine union, and some of that I do believe that there is some earthly. I think that there was a child born to women who had been with him, and that they're star seeds here. And we've heard that term for how long about star seeds, right? And I do believe that. And I think that one of the things that came to me in this card draw, because we've had Kokopelli come to us on more than one occasion through these cards, is that it is about to remind us of our creative processes, not just to form a child, a human child, half human, half God, a star seed, um, but also to be creative in different aspects of our life, whether it's, you know, if we have a 9 to 5, how are we using our creative gifts in that 9 to 5? Um, do we have a hobby that some people call a hobby? Um, how are we using our gifts through the creative process? I think that's the essence of the card. Because Jamie Sams wrote, and this is the one part that jumped out at me. Let's see if I can find it. She relayed one of the stories about Kokopelli, about arriving at a pueblo, and it seemed like it was during a drought season, because the people were starting to lose hope that it was going to rain, and without the rain, the crops, the three sisters, the corn, the squash, and the beans, were not going to produce. And so there we go with creation, right? Um, and so that's the story that she told, that he came in, played his flute, and called to the thunder beans to come to make love to Grandmother Earth and to create the rain. And they could hear the rumblings of the thunder beans coming, and Kokopelli, told the residents of the pueblo to bring out their urns, their clay urns, to catch the rain, so that they could use it later, right, for irrigation. So everybody's running around trying to get their clay urns out, the clay pots out to catch the rain. And there was this one young woman who was just watching everybody running around, and she was standing still, and she was just watching the storm roll in, right? And Kokopelli came to her and asked her why she's not getting her urns out. And she goes, "Well, they already are. I heard you playing the flute before I came down, and so she knew that there was going to be rain coming. So she put her clay pots out, and then she came down to the Pueblo Center, and she had heard him playing the flute long before he even started playing, and so he realized that she was going to be the one to have a child with him, and so that's yeah." I'm just looking in the chat. Elise wrote cheese curds. Yes. And before you start Actually, we have a decent cheese house here. There's a much better one down near Madison, but we'll definitely make sure you have cheese curds. Elisa, Stephanie, originally the horn was the horny part of him. Yes. Yep. And Stephanie, from what I have seen, those cards are in tune to many people and an entire spectrum of vibration. The language is geared to newly awakened peoples. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, the cards, we have so many tools that are a bridge for us and our intuition and how we sense energy, how the energy comes to us, right? And the cards, just like a pendulum, are a bridge. They're a tool to help us gain more trust in our own intuition, so that when we start seeing that, oh yeah, that feels right, or I got that before the pendulum even started to swing, I felt the yes or I felt the no, you know. And so they're really a tool to help us to trust our intuition more. And especially when we're first starting out, right? When we're first starting out on our spiritual path, that we're awakened to it, because we're all on a spiritual path, whether we know it or not. But as Stephanie said, to awaken. And yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. All right. So anyway, going back to Kokopelli, this is what Jamie wrote that kind of jumped out at me. She said that she was with one of her teachers, and her teacher was the one that was telling her this story about Kokopelli. And the teacher, her teacher had used the flute to tell the story, right? And during that time frame, she's listening to the flute, listening to the story, and she ends up in dream time. She starts to do a soul travel. And she says, I flew over the couple, meaning Kokopelli and this young woman, and heard the gasps of all who were observing the drama. Magic was in the air, and the child of this union would use the magic of this raven medicine, because she had turned into a raven to see this, to travel, to assist the people in finding their way back to the stars. The legend of the Pueblo people tells that they crawled up from the underworld after creation. Meanwhile, the spirits of their ancestors went back into the underworld until it was time to walk the earth again. Kokopelli spoke to them of a time before the creation, when each person was a spark of fire from great mystery's eternal flame, and had fallen to earth to seed the mother with fertile thoughts, ideas, and actions. He told them that they would all become like fireflies in the great star nation on the day when the Toltec and the Pueblo bloodlines came together as one. And then she says, to fully understand the teachings of Kokopelli, we must examine the ideas of the divine union. All right. So when I read that piece about how the human, the two-legged, when they came, when they had fallen, when she says had fallen to earth to seed the mother with fertile thoughts, ideas, and actions. And I thought, okay, that when that jumped out at me this morning, it was, and I was turned to my spiritual team and I said, are we talking about using our gifts in a creative way? What we create with them? And it was a distinct yes, that we're being reminded that, like Kokopelli, that we are creative beings, that we have that magic within us already. And we've talked about that and through other cards. That when we use our gifts to create, it's in that divine union. It isn't necessarily the physical union, although it could be between, a male and a female, but it also is our gifts that we're bringing forth into the earth plane as we create. That's also a divine union. Does that make sense? That's what I got out of it this morning. And then she says that when we approach our lives with trust rather than skepticism, we're allowing our minds to be fertile grounds for enrichment. This growth cycle allows us to hear the music of our own unique magic. Every living creature of the earth is magical because each is a unique creation who sprang from the great mystery. This magic is our personal medicine, which manifests itself as our gifts, talents, and abilities. So I had to kind of sit back and think, okay, so what are some examples? How have I done this? How have I used my gifts to be creative and to bring something into the world that hadn't been here before? And so my heart went, of course, to the drums. To me, that is a prime example of the creative union and using their gifts. Because when you create a drum, you're literally creating a brand new being, a spirit that comes to the drum to live through the drum, right? A consciousness. That's probably the prime example. The other one I have for myself is Star Nations itself, the business, to have the shows. We started out with internet radio and moved to live streaming, and I'm finding that through the live streaming, we are reaching way more people with, I want to say less effort, but it's a different kind of effort. It's not really less. It's a different kind of energy output. And we have the magazine, to have that be creative, and we get to create it every month. And so those are the two things that jump to my mind. There's other people that might have other projects that they worked on. There are other things that they use their gifts and their talents to bring into the physical world, right? And if you're a parent, that is huge, because of the energy, the creative energy to bring forth this human, the spirit to have this physical existence. Yeah. Wow. Kokopelli is big medicine. It's nothing to scoff at. Although I think that there's also a sense of joy with that. That's my sense anyway. She says, Jamie Sams wrote that Kokopelli plays the flute and weaves the magic of his songs to remind us that magic is no more than a change in consciousness. If we want the seed we sow to fall on fertile ground, then we must change our perception and use our talents in a fertile manner. So, how have you used your gifts? What have you created that didn't exist before? And I know that Mary Anderson Fry, I know that she's in chat. And I know that she is a really great photographer. She has this way of capturing, especially horses, in a way that, and I know that there's other photographers, there's other people taking photos of horses, but it's unique to Mary because Mary has a relationship with the horse medicine. And so her pictures have a different feel to them than somebody who doesn't have horse as one of their power animals or totems, right? Yeah. So Mary, I just used you as an example. So what I'm saying is that even though there might be other things that look like it, it's still very unique because it's flowing through you. It's flowing through your unique vibration, your unique song. Yeah. And I think Kokopelli came to us today to remind us about that. With the application of the card, Jamie Sam writes that let's see. If Kokopelli has lured you with his magical flute, it's time to listen to his song. The song is one of fertility. You are being asked to use your talents to create fertility in some area of your life. Planting seeds for the future takes effort on your part, so now is the time to use your skill and resources to make use of the magic. Shift away from any old, limiting ideas and move forward. The time is now. The power is you. Yeah. So even if you just take the smallest step in that direction, it's the fact that you're starting. And after our show last night, the mystery school, and Carl was sharing about about what we're here about. How did he put that? He was talking about our belief systems and how some of our belief system that we grew up with, the beliefs that we have to look at and decide for ourselves what is relevant for us today as in this time frame of our life, and if those beliefs still support us. And if they don't, is to let them go to create something new. Yeah. And that, our creative process, even if we don't turn our conscious awareness to it, we're still doing it. We're still creating all the time. And sometimes it's so unconscious that we're not even aware that we're doing it. For those people who are in the live chat, how many of you like to cook? Creating meals. There's an alchemy in that creation of the meal. And then there's those of us who we're not the best cooks in the world, right? I can put together a meal, and some of them actually turn out pretty good. But I also know that's not my forte. I have to really try. When I'm cooking, when I'm making dinner, when I call it kitchen duty, when I have to put the apron on and I'm making a meal, I can't have outside disruptions or to take my focus away. Even the slightest conversation, if Paul is helping me and he starts to have this conversation with me, I lose my focus and I forget, what did I just put in there? Did I measure that right? Wait a minute. So, and it pulls, and I am not in the meal creation anymore. And so we've learned that when I'm doing the cooking, is that it's just usually me in the kitchen. Yeah, he gets the cleanup, but yeah. So cooking is not one of my fortes. I can do it, but I really have to be conscious and really there with it. Yeah, and I'm constantly looking at the clock. Am I going to get this done in time? What if I don't get this done in time? So it's not even relaxing to me. Now there's other people who love it. Love it. They're the ones that will even take recipes, create their own recipe, or take an old recipe and convert it into something much more healthier. And they love doing that stuff. Love it. And in their creation. So that's just an example. Just an example. So who came? What animal came to help us? And I was kind of surprised at this one because I even made sure I was really shuffling those cards. And Dolphin came out again. Now we had Dolphin yesterday, and it's about Manna. It's about the life force. It's about the breath of life. And I had to sit there and think, okay, spiritual team, what's going on? Why did we get this card again? And how does this relate to Kokopelli? And this is what came to me, is that Manna, the life force, is something that is constantly flowing to us. We're breathing in Manna all the time. And then they showed me a drum. And there is a part in the process of making a drum that, if you're aware of it, you can feel the spirit of the drum enter the drum. There's a moment there. And so that's what that reminds me of, is the Manna, the life force, the breath of life. Is that in our creations, what we create, there's an alchemy to it. And Manna is a part of that. When we create something with our hands, our essence, our life force, our spirit becomes embedded into that, whatever we're creating. So all of our emotions, all of our thoughts get embedded into whatever it is that we're creating. And my mom, when she was teaching me how to do beadwork and all that, she goes, now you have to have a good mind. You have to have a good heart when you're working on these things, because people are going to feel it when they pick up your piece. Whatever it is you're working on, they'll feel it. And so it was always have a good mind, have a good heart while you're creating something. And so that's what the Dolphin card brought. The information was that in our creation, of no matter what it is, there's an alchemy to it. There's magic in there, is what they say, right? She says that Dolphin teaches us how to use life Manna through our breath. It revitalizes each cell and organ and creates the limits and dimensions of physical reality so that we may enter the dream time. She says that breaking existing barriers and connect with Dreamtime or Great Star Nation. Know that we are all in the eyes of the ever living one. Yeah, and she talks about looking for the patterns. And one of the other things about Dolphin, when I think about Dolphin, I also think about how they communicate. So for Dolphin, to me, is also that communication. They were given a gift, and they call it a spirit language. It's that light language, right? And it comes through their sonar, the sound, and when they sing, when they make their sounds. So I think it also has something to do with how when we create something, is how is it shared? How are we communicating it to others, right? All right, Elisa's saying, that would be me. I will make omelets all for all of you when I'm there. I love to cook. Oh my gosh, well, I'll take you up on that, that's for sure. And Stephanie says, dolphins communicate with their sense stream. Their creation process begins before words begin. Yes, all creation begins before words are created. Dolphins send their literal vision to others in the pod, Cyranos. Yes. And it's funny, I just scrolled down, and after I got done talking about the communication piece, and so when when we bring that together with the Kokopelli card, because that's what I'm asking for when I draw the animal card. Which animal relative can help us to understand the essence of the card drawn, with clarity and with a deeper meaning. And so I do believe that Dolphin came to remind us about the magic and the mana, the life force. That when we create, no matter what it is, that we're embedding. It's an alchemy. It's an alchemy. We're bringing together seemingly separate things and bringing them together to create something new. I'll go back to the drum metaphor. Is that you have the wood of the hoop and its medicine and what it brings to us, and that it's in a circular form generally. And then there's the hide and the medicine of that animal that's come to you to add that layer on there of their medicine. And then, of course, there is you. Your medicine gets embedded into that drum as well as your thoughts and your emotions. And so there's an alchemy. There's these seemingly separate pieces when they're not separate at all, and you bring them together to create this new being. Yeah. It says, I love dolphins. They do want to communicate. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Now, there was one more animal, actually, is raven. Now, when I pulled this card, I had to smile because, I've read the information about Kokopelli, 3 or 4 times now, so I kind of know the story that she tells in there. And I told you part of it, and that is when Kokopelli went to that Puebla, right? When she entered Dreamtime and actually saw that story about Kokopelli unfold, she was there, right? And when she went through Dreamtime, she shifted into a raven to be there. And so then this card comes out, right? And so I had to smile about how Spirit was reminding us about the raven medicine that's included in that story. And for those who might not know or remember about raven, here's what Jamie says. She says that raven has carried the medicine of magic. It is sacred in the medicine ways to honor raven as the bringer of magic. Raven magic is a powerful medicine that can give you the courage to enter the darkness of the void, which is the home of all that is not yet formed. The void is called the great mystery. Great mystery existed before all other things came into being. The great spirit lives inside the void and emerged from the great mystery. Raven is the messenger of the void. So, when we sit down to create something, anything, it's, as Stephanie and Ceranos wrote, is that the thought process comes first, right? And a lot of times that is the nudges that we receive from our spiritual team. Gee, I feel like doing this or doing that. Or we get this impression. It's like, oh, I got to do that, or I got to go there. I have to get beads or the colors or whatever it is. It begins as a thought. And when we begin to build on that thought, really what we're doing is we're also sending it out to the void. What does she called it? She says, the home of all that is not yet in form. And so out of the formless comes the form of whatever we're creating, you know? And that reminded me of my medicine dress. It took me 5 years to bring it into the physical plane, not because it was so difficult to make, but it was me dragging my feet, not wanting the responsibility, having to work through all of that. But it was in the void. It was waiting to be formed, to bring it onto the earth plane. So Raven and the magic that the Raven brings, and that's how that is brought together with the Kokopelli card this morning. There's magic in it. That's that alchemy that we were talking about, right? The alchemy. She says that if you have chosen Raven, magic is in the air. Do not try to figure it out. You cannot. It is the power of the unknown at work, and something special is about to happen. The deeper the mystery, however, is how you will respond to the sparkling synchronicity of this alchemical moment. This alchemical moment. Our creation. How to be creative. Yeah. So what have you guys have created recently? Anything? I know that there's looking at who is in the chat this morning, there are many creative people in the chat room. Artists of one kind or another. What was the most recent thing that you've created? And it could be anything. For me, it's the magazine, radio shows, or live stream shows. And actually, you know what is really fun for me is working with the contributing writers and the show hosts, because that's their creation and I get to help with it. I'm kind of, it's another form of midwifery again. You know, we did a series when we were on Blog Talk about the spirit doulas, right? And one of the things that came to me this morning was that in many ways that spirit doula work has taken on a different cover, if you will, is that helping, assisting the contributing writers and the show hosts in their creation and birthing their creation, their articles and their shows. So like even yesterday, I produced 2 shows helping the elders because, you know, it's there's a level of technology that they're not comfortable with. And so to help them out, because Star Nations is about helping to get the message, a spiritual teacher's message out, to help others, to provide a service for them, right? And Star Nations, we can give them a little bit bigger stage, if you will, to amplify their voices. And that is my main mission right now. And so to have the ability to help them birth their articles every month in their shows. Yeah, I like it. Mary's saying, sketched a horse for my granddaughter. I know, that turned out so good. I loved it. And Stephanie said, I've been writing and rewriting a lot. Yeah, absolutely. It's that creative process. And, you know, in that creation process, have you ever been you're working on whatever it is, and you lose track of time and space? Yeah. I mean, you might start it at 10 o'clock and you look up and it's 1 o'clock and you think, where'd the last 3 hours go? Oh my gosh. You know, I didn't realize time went so fast. Well, we literally are in another dimension when we're doing that. When we're in that creative mode. Actually, I like it. There's for me, there's a bit of an adrenaline rush, and I in that creative process, and I that is one of my favorite places to be, is in that creative and adrenaline rush at the very beginning of a brand new project, of any kind. Um, I like that a lot, and I do it well. I do it well. I'm not real good at maintenance. I get bored. Oh my God. And so when I'm on a job or something like that, especially when I work for the state and working on, we're done with the major piece and we're in the maintenance. That's when I'm with it for a while, and then I start looking at it and how we can tweak it, and how can we make this even better, um, or looking for the next project, how to jump onto the next project. Yeah. And I think that's why I also like writing a lot too, Stephanie, because for me, that there's that initial rush of the creation process, the idea, pulling together, doing the research, and creating this new piece. For me, uh, that's almost like a thrill, right? For me, yep. I've never used that word in a while. Thrill. Yeah, that's a great Scrabble word too. Stephanie is saying transitioning from fiction stories to nonfiction article has been incredibly difficult. Yeah. Well, it's two different genres, right? Two different genres. Yeah. Um, I I don't think I've ever transitioned from one to the other. I can see the challenge in it, sense it anyway. Yeah. I have never done. I've kept my fiction separate from my nonfiction. The nonfiction, what I like is the putting together the puzzle, how to get the pieces to fit together, how they fit together. When you do the research and supporting documents and that kind of thing. Yeah, put it. It's like a big puzzle for me, and I love puzzles. I do patterns really well. Um, yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Elise says, I like to write, but never think it's good enough. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're not the only one, Elise. Really. I mean, how many people have read my fiction stuff? Nobody but me. I've been working on character development because I think it's fun in creating this being. Um, but that's for me, that it's relaxing. It's fun. I used to sketch when I was in my 20s. I was still sketching, and occasionally I would even sketch these fictional characters. But that's okay, I think. Not everything is meant to be shared with the world. Sometimes it's just for our own creation process. And there's other things that I think that is really important, especially when you have a message that goes along with it that can help other people. You know, the other thing I like to do, and I don't know if it's really a creation, it's kind of a, and I've known this since the mid 80s, about guided meditation. I like leading guided meditations. I started out working with a professor on pain management. She was writing, it was on, college days. Uh, Professors, a publisher perish, is still well and alive. And so she was working on a research project, and she was going to be publishing it, and I was one of her assistants on it. And we would go out and we'd work with the elderly and about pain management. Um, and I had 3 I think it was 3 elders that I actually did guided meditation for, and then the placebo group, I had 2 people, and I much preferred working with the 3 with the guided meditation, and learned how to do guided meditation, and found that it came very naturally. Um, and so I still use it today. I'm leading guided meditations. Yeah, so I've got a lot of experience in it, but it's one of the things that I like. I really find joy in doing, and connecting with those people who are in the meditation, no matter if I'm physically in the same room with them, or if when we do the unity breath and we're doing the cyber thing, I can still feel the connection to whoever is in that meditation, and getting glimpses of their special place in nature, feeling the sand, or smelling the pine, or that sort of thing. And so I just enjoy it a lot. I do. All right. Well, Friday. Enjoy your rest of your Friday. See how this day unfolds for you as the energy unfolds. How much of the information that we got today about through Kokopelli and the dolphin and raven, um, how it unfolds for you, right? And remember, just take whatever resonated. Anything that didn't, that's okay. You don't have to do anything with it. Or maybe you're just the messenger. You can pass it on to someone else. Maybe that's your role in it. No matter what, just notice how the energy comes to you. And if you're a participant, or if you're bearing witness to somebody. Yeah. So, with that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be back here tomorrow, Saturday, with the next card draw. You know what, guys? I'm going to take Sunday off. Yep, I am. I've got some help coming in, and so they're going to be with Mom, and so I can sleep in a little bit in the morning on Sunday. So, Saturday, I'll see you on Saturday, though. Okay. All right. Bye, Mamita. Have a good day, and until we see each other again.